Well, if you didn't know, baseball's a pretty big deal in our family. Several years ago, we went to a game at Wrigley Field with some friends who had came to visit us in Chicago. And Jason Hayward at the time hit a walk-off grand slam, and we've been converted to be baseball fans ever since. Our oldest son plays 8U. As baseball season is rolling, I wanted to go back a few years and look at a project I did with a local high school to help try and raise money for lights at their field. One of the things that I think is really cool and impactful about this is that baseball a lot of times leans towards highlight reels, hype videos, high energy excitement, which there's nothing wrong with that. I actually have another piece that I did with the high school as well that was that. But there's something interesting about the other side of baseball, that is the impact it has on people, the leadership development, the being a part of a team, stuff that is way more personal story based. And you'll see that's what we did here. So I want to break this down with you. Let's check it out.
For me personally, baseball has just been the only thing I've really ever had that's super consistent.
Okay, so already setting the tone here with something different than active baseball happening. I wanted, we've shot this in the winter, which helped, but we also wanted to capture a way to see more of the stuff behind the scenes of baseball, not the swings and the hits and the highlight reels, but the quiet that happens in between stuff when you have to think back on what happened in the season, what I learned, what I developed, and then we get to hear in on some athletes that did this.
It's always been my passion and kind of gives me some sort of purpose, and I've always loved it, always worked hard at it.
Okay, this was an interesting story because a lot of times these 3-minute story reel things are one person and one story. We had the opportunity to tell about 3 or 4, and there might be 5 kids in this one, students in this one, and just a unique perspective on storytelling. So instead of, this is where I came from to this was the crisis that one person hit and the resolution to that, we had to find a way to get creative with that and tell it with multiple voices. So far we've set the line of baseball is all I've ever had. I love working hard at it. And it's a unique perspective when you have to add multiple voices to it that makes the story a little bit more engaging and more exciting to listen to.
To me, I think baseball means a lot more than just the game.
Coming out here winning a conference championship, I still hold myself pretty high for that. It was a good feeling.
It's right there. We kind of hit the crux of the story, right? Baseball has always meant more to me than just the game. It's more than the outs. It's more than the hits. It's more than the throws. There's something more to it. Well, what is it? Now you're leaning in. What is more to the game?
When you're playing here, you got to leave the field at 8. It gets too dark.
In our recent season, we had the better seed going into sub-state, and we couldn't even host our playoff game because we didn't have lights. Playing at night under the lights is something everybody wants to do in high school, and we never had that opportunity at home.
We're a 4A school. We play.
So we're hearing there's more to this game of baseball now. We're seeing that there's real people being impacted, and now we're seeing there's a problem. You can't play past 8 p.m. at this field, and that was the whole goal of this video, was to try to explain that every baseball field should have lights. And now we're hearing the students explain why that affected them, why it was a problem for them. So now we've heard the crisis. Now it's, there's, if you think of a plot line, we've had the baseline, baseball is more than just a sport, there's something more to it. And now we've seen the upward trajectory of what's the crisis? What's the issue compounding here?
At a really high competition, we play against schools that have 3,000 kids, and we have 1,100, 1,200, and we're a 4A school with 2A facilities. It's really hard to compete against teams that have way better opportunity than us.
Obviously, having nicer facilities.
Okay, admittedly, did a little bit of video stuff here. It's the middle of winter, so no baseball field's gonna look good in the middle of winter. So we got to use some of the dugout and gross tarp because it probably just snowed, a month before this video was shot. So admittedly, we used some video magic on this, but it helps reiterate the story that the facilities aren't maybe as nice as these students feel like it should be. So this is where, the visuals can help support the story in baseball style things. In anything really, the visuals can come alongside what you're saying and what you're wanting to say and help support the narrative, help support the story.
Everything, it just helps us as players to develop.
Like turf on your field, you can practice year round. On a day like this, you're able to practice on the field. Instead, you have to work in a gym. You don't have a great opportunity there compared to a turf field.
This is cool. I mean, this is kind of like the crux of like, we could work, more and harder if we had a better facility. So now we're seeing the resolution to this, right? There's more to baseball. It's the work ethic. It's the things that you learn when you're in practice. It's the thing you learn when you're working as a team that they can't do as well without the field being upgraded, without it being better. It's creating these heartstrings that maybe a donor, maybe a company that could help do the work would be have their heartstrings pulled. They'd be interested in being a part of it.
My experience with AL baseball kind of helped me develop some sort of discipline, show up every day, the good mentality, helped me show up and get to work, helped me kind of be a team player. Didn't really have the best attitude when I first came here, and really felt like I really developed into a better teammate over the years.
I couldn't imagine being the first team to step out on a field with new turf and new lights.
So again, just wrapping the story with, imagine what you could do if you had the right tools, the right things. How many more students, how many more athletes, how many more teams could be developed in that leadership, that work ethic, that teamwork, all outside of baseball. So here, we made a whole video now about baseball, about what baseball is, and we haven't seen but a couple of throws and a couple of hits in an indoor practice. And these are all things that I think can apply to any story. Whatever thing you're trying to raise money for, whatever business you're trying to sell a product for, there's a way you can use story to help impact what people see, what they view, and how they interact with your brand, with your story, with who you are. Baseball is just one example of this, and there's tons of different examples of this in whatever context you're in, whatever business, whatever church, whatever organization, nonprofit you're a part of. Your story is the key to finding new donors, finding new customers, finding new guests. You need to tell the story of what's going on to engage your audience. Your story is my mission. I'm here to help with that. I'd love to connect with you.